Dylan was a young forester with a passion for the wild. He spent his days patrolling the vast areas of the national park, ensuring the safety of both visitors and the creatures that called the wilderness home. It was a career to which he dedicated his life, driven by a deep love for animals and a sense of duty to protect them. During his time as a ranger, he had seen many miracles, but nothing could have prepared him for the extraordinary bond he would develop with one particular tiger. One warm summer day, Dylan was on his usual patrol near a rocky outcrop, where he often observed a group of tigers resting in the shade of large trees. Watching from a distance, he noticed a small tiger cub playing dangerously close to the edge of the cliff. The cub, full of youthful curiosity, grabbed a butterfly fluttering in close proximity to him with his paw. At that very moment, the ground beneath his paws crumbled, and the cub rolled down a steep, uneven slope, disappearing from sight. Dylan's heart was pounding in his chest as he rushed to the edge of the cliff. Looking down, he saw a bear cub lying on a narrow ledge, its small body trembling with fear. The fall was not fatal, but the tiger cub got stuck and was unable to get back on his feet on his own. Above, the mother tigress paced frantically, emitting a deep, guttural growl that echoed through the trees. The other tigers watched what was happening, their instincts telling them that something was wrong. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Dylan radioed his team, requesting immediate assistance. Within minutes, a group of rangers arrived with ropes, harnesses, and other rescue equipment. They carefully devised a plan to get the cub out without causing unnecessary disturbance to the tigers above. Dylan volunteered to go down first. He fastened his seat belts while his colleagues secured the rope. As he leaned towards the frightened tiger cub, he spoke softly, his voice calm and encouraging. Despite the fear, the cub did not show any aggression. He seemed to sense that Dylan didn't mean to harm him. Once he reached the ledge, Dylan carefully wrapped the cub in a secure bandage to keep him from panicking during the climb. As the team began to lift them back up, the mother tiger let out another low growl. Her amber eyes settled on Dylan. He remained motionless, avoiding any sudden movements that might awaken her protective instincts. Slowly but surely, he and the tiger cub were lifted to safety. Once they reached the top, Dylan carefully released the cub and stepped back to give his mother space. The tigress rushed forward, buried her nose in her cub and licked its fur, checking for wounds. The other tigers gathered around, their presence strong but not hostile. Dylan stood motionless, watching the scene unfold with quiet awe. After a few moments, the tigress turned her gaze to Dylan. There was something in her eyes, recognition, an unspoken understanding. With one last look, she led her cub away, disappearing into the dense forest. Dylan exhaled, feeling both relief and awe at what had just happened. Months passed, and Dylan continued his work in the park. The story of the tiger cub's rescue spread among his colleagues, earning him respect and admiration. But for Dylan, it wasn't about recognition. It was the connection he felt in that moment, the silent gratitude he and the tiger exchanged. Then, one fateful day, the bond between them was tested in an unimaginable way. It was the height of the rainy season, and there were heavy downpours in the park. The soil became unstable, and landslides became a growing concern. Dylan was on patrol when he heard a dull, rumbling sound. Before he could react, the ground beneath him gave way, and he was carried down a steep slope, buried under mud and debris. Pain shot through his body as he tried to free himself, but the ground pinned him to the ground. His radio was damaged, and a thick layer of dirt muffled his voice. He was trapped, alone, with no hope that anyone would find him in time. Just as despair began to take hold of him, He heard something, a low, rumbling growl. At first it was faint, but then it became louder. Dylan turned his head as quickly as he could, and through the gaps in the rubble he saw a shadow moving above him. Tiger. This was no ordinary tiger. It was the mother tigress. For a moment, their eyes met, just like the day he saved her cub. She sniffed the air and then began to dig. Her massive paws dug through the dirt, gradually removing it. Dylan could hardly believe what he had witnessed. Was she trying to help him? The commotion soon attracted the attention of a nearby patrol. Noticing the tigress's unusual behavior, the rangers cautiously approached. When they spotted Dylan buried under the rubble, they sprang into action. Working quickly, they cleared away the remaining dirt and pulled him to safety. Once Dylan was free, the mother tiger stepped back, watching with golden eyes as the rangers tended to his wounds. She didn't linger. With one last glance at him, she turned and disappeared into the forest again. Dylan was taken back to the ranger base, where he received medical attention. He had some bruises and some minor fractures, but he will recover. But what haunted him more than the physical wounds was the deep awareness of what had just happened. The tiger remembered him. The story spread around the world, surprising both his colleagues and wildlife experts. Many debated the extent to which a tiger was capable of recognizing and showing gratitude, but Dylan had no doubt. He saved her baby, and in her hour of need, she repaid him in kind. Since that day, when Dylan was patrolling the park, he would occasionally notice a tiger watching him from a distance. They never communicated directly again, but there was always a silent recognition between them, a mutual respect that went beyond words or sight. His experience became a story that evoked surprise and admiration, not only among the rangers, but also among everyone who heard it. It was a reminder that the connections we make with nature, even the ones we least expect, can be deeper than we ever imagined. Thus, the park remained his home and wildlife his passion. But Dylan knew that in the heart of this vast, untamed land, he was not alone. Somewhere deep in the forest, the tiger that was once just another creature in the wild has transformed into something more. Let us know in the comments below if you liked the story. Subscribe to this channel and like it. Sharing love for animals is wonderful, don't you agree?